Hi, folks. Welcome to the Prepared Homestead. This is Travis. Thank you all for stopping by to watch. Well, we've got a fairly cool, cloudy day today. For this time in August, it's cool. But tomorrow, we're supposed to get some rain. 80% chance of rain tomorrow. Thunderstorms, rain all day, and a pretty decent chance of rain every day next week. Or this week, I guess it is. It's Sunday. Which, hey, I am all for that, mostly because it is so dry and dusty here. I'm telling you, it's just you feel it in your teeth when you're driving up and down these roads, and that's with the windows up and the vents turned off and everything. We definitely need some rain. We had our first pretty decent grass fire. I guess it was Friday. That we haven't had one in a while because it's been so wet. You know, we've had such a wet spring, and then all of a sudden it just dried out seriously. So if we can get some rain coming in, that would be nice, because I'm getting tired of just dust everywhere and dryness and stuff. But hey, you know, it's the Ozarks, so it'll change eventually. I know that everyone is either on edge anticipating World War III or has already given up and, you know, turned their attention to something else. I still do believe that something is fairly significant is going to happen. When you look at all the players and what's happened, Russia and Iran now have been kind of painted into the corner. I'm trying to be objective here and look at it from both sides. And yes, they are, you know, I'm not saying they've done good. I'm not saying none of that kind of stuff. But recent things, Iran was attacked and, you know, someone was assassinated, obviously, inside their borders, in their capital city. A few other important people in their military was assassinated. And then Russia's been attacked directly, an invasion. I mean, an actual invasion into their country. And regardless of what you feel about that, from their perspective, they have been put into a corner. They have to retaliate. Putin has to retaliate in a very significant way and stop this and end this, I would think. I would think that it's at a point now that the Russian people are like, all right, we've been dealing with this for a couple of years. You need to end this, or something has to change in leadership or something. Kind of the same way with Iran. You know, they've said for the last couple of weeks that they're going to retaliate, that they're going to do all this kind of stuff, and nothing's happened, and there's been excuse after excuse and kind of a sort of changing of plans. Well, we might do this instead. They look extremely weak, and Russia is starting to look very weak. And maybe they are. Maybe both Iran and Russia are weak. The point is, it's the perception of weakness on a global stage, with BRICS and everything trying to build up and trying to take over the United States currency, the American dollar, all that kind of stuff. If you've got two prominent leaders in that look very weak, you know, up until now, there's been a lot of momentum around the planet of moving towards BRICS, of seeing China and as the good guys, as the ones that's trying to fix everything and all this kind of stuff. And now Russia and Iran have been painted into a corner, and that's two of China's closest allies in a lot of ways. It looks really bad. So something has to happen. Is it going to be in a direct attack? Some people are talking nuclear. Or is there coming some kind of major cyber attack? Something. And I'm sure in the back rooms they're weighing this out, that if they wait too long to retaliate, even if they eventually do retaliate, it looks weak on the public stage. Because here's the thing. These people, they're seeing the same stuff that you and I see online. They're seeing all the comments. They're seeing people, you know, get to the point like, man, you know, Iran must be weak. They're not going to do anything. They're all talk, you know, that kind of stuff. They see that. And putting these two players into the corner is a very dangerous thing. It's kind of like a snake, you know. For the most part, if you encounter a snake out in the woods, It's pretty safe, unless you're stepping on it. As long as you see it and it sees you, and it's fine. Just the other day, I came across a couple of water moccasins. Didn't even attempt to do anything to me. There was enough distance, they went their way. You take those same snakes and you put them in a corner to where they can't escape, and it's just you and them, and what will they do? They will strike out. And I think that's the place that we're at right now. I don't have any inside knowledge or any kind of great ideas of what's going to happen, but I do think that things are going to happen, and probably pretty significantly. And then when you add in the whole, Kamala, Biden, Trump, all that kind of stuff that's going on, it came out yesterday that that his campaign was hacked, and that they're blaming it on Iran, even though there are other opposition sides saying that that's not true. I think it was Microsoft came out and said that there's no evidence that this happened. But they're saying that Iran's doing it, and that Iran is supporting Kamala. They want Kamala because they feel Kamala's weak, and that, is more supportive of Islamic interests than of Jewish interests in Israel. All of this kind of stuff, it's all a big game. And while on one hand you could say, well, if it's all a big game, then maybe the wars and all this kind of stuff, it's not going to happen because it's all a big game. You could argue that, but I think that that's not the case. I think that part of the game are the wars. It's always been that way. The world has always eventually, like, the lowest common denominator between nations is a war, because they don't have to fight it. The leadership, they let the peasants fight it, and then it benefits them. It doesn't benefit you and I. It benefits the peasant, the elites. So I would say at some point that's where this is headed. It's not even been a secret that eventually World War III is going to happen. It's always been, well, maybe it's a few years off. And folks like myself are saying, no, it's going to happen sooner than you expect. I suspect if Iran and Russia were smart, and they were kind of coming together on this and coming up with a game plan, you would think it would happen quickly and abruptly, that it would kind of shock people. But at this point, we don't know, because there's been so much back and forth. Well, it's going to be in another 72 hours, and then 72 hours pass. Well, it'll be another 48 hours. And it's showing a weakness. It's showing a hesitancy. It's showing that they're a little bit nervous about taking on Israel and the United States. And they're probably uncertain of, how weak the United States really is. I mean, the perception over the last few years is that America's military is weak, but is it really? Could they quickly pull things together and easily defeat Russia and Iran? I don't know. And I would say that's what they are thinking too, and that's probably the hesitancy. We will probably, if nothing else, start to see more cyber attacks, more small attacks on U.S. interests abroad, and very possibly terrorist attack here in the United States, because it's easier to do those and to disavow direct action in those. And so would make it more difficult for the United States to directly retaliate against Iran. And so that would probably be the more immediate solution, is to activate certain terrorist cells here in the United States, cyber hackers, things like that, to carry out those missions. So we're in as much as it seems like it's become boring and that nothing's really happening, right? I think we're still in a very dangerous position, because two nations that have the capability to exert harm. I'm not saying that they can destroy the world necessarily, although they're both nuclear. They have capabilities of exerting some harm and destruction, and they're put into a corner right now. And that's actually a very dangerous place for them to be. I don't think there's anyone that would want to see Russia put into a corner. That was the whole thing with the Cold War, is to try to come to a peaceful end to it, so that Russia never felt cornered and that they would retaliate. And here we are. Well, Russia's been cornered more so than at least in the last century. And that's a very dangerous place for the world. And so right now, I'd say everything's on edge and watching, and uncertain of what's going to happen next. For you and I, we're not necessarily directly involved. We're not necessarily directly going to feel the repercussions unless terrorist cells start activating here in the United States. So that buys us some time still. It buys us some time to continue with your preparations, to get things moving along a little bit further. I think a lot of you, certain things in the news happen and you start to get a little nervous and think, oh my goodness, I'm not ready. I still need more time and this is moving too quickly. Things have slowed down a bit, and take advantage of that and get out there and do what you need to do, whatever's on your list, to get yourself more prepared, because we're 90 days or so out from the election. The odds of something heating up significantly more than what we've seen in the last several weeks, the odds of that happening are pretty good. So take advantage of the time that you have by getting out there and getting yourselves prepared. Folks, it's time to get your houses in order and prepare mentally, physically, and spiritually. Thanks for watching. Catch you in the next video.